Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 6 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Wednesday morning. Before we begin this interview, if you are a bad guy, you have to turn off your radio.
Yes.
If you are a good guy, listen up. Because we've got a book. I've never seen a book like this before. 100 Deadly Skills. Clint Emerson wrote this book, and it will teach you how to defend yourself.
Yes.
Hey, wait a minute. There's a bad guy still listening. I'm not going to say another word until you turn off your radio, sir. Thank you. Clint is a Navy SEAL. He retired. He spent 20 years conducting special ops all over the world. While attached to the SEAL Team 3, he's the National Security Agency and the Elite SEAL Team 6, the creator of Violent Nomad. We're going to have him explain that to us. It is a personal, non-kinetic capture/kill program, cataloging the skills necessary to defend against any predator or crisis. He's the founder of Escape the Wolf, which is a risk mitigation firm. My goodness, he has seen some things in his life.
Yes.
100 Deadly Skills. Wait till you hear some of the things in this book. If you're a bad guy, you have to turn off your radio. That's the rule today. You can't learn these skills. Clint Emerson. Good morning, Clint.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
Where are you?
He's not telling.
Good.
Oh! You can't tell me where you are?
Yeah. No, I'm calling out of Dallas.
Out of Dallas, okay. Well, they allow guns in Dallas.
I'm glad.
That's right. You're always safe no matter where you go.
What did we hear the other day? What was the city in Texas that had the least number of kills?
Oh, yeah, I forget the name, but it was like 0.2% or something like that. It was great.
But they have the most guns or something. They have the most
and
guns,
knives and stuff, machetes.
So you can turn, let me say this one, you can turn a speaker into a microphone.
Yeah, what most people don't know is a speaker is a microphone, and microphone is a speaker. All you do is switch the leads around. So you're positive and negative. You flip those around towards negative, positive, and all of a sudden the diaphragm of your microphone becomes a speaker. And if you flip it back the other way, then the diaphragm of your speaker becomes a microphone. Both of them work pretty much the same way. It's just a matter of how the power or the current in your audio wires are connected.
So it's tip number 55 in your book of 100 Deadly Skills. So if I have bad guys in my house and I can hear them through the speaker because I've connected a cell phone to it, and you show us how to do that, can I then talk to them through the speaker and just say, "Hey, get out of my house"? Can I communicate to them too?
No, it would be one way. You could probably set up a separate speaker for you to communicate and turn it into a two-way system. But once you convert that particular speaker or flip the wires, then yeah, it's only going to function one of two ways at any given time.
So that's not a life-saving skill, I guess, but that's a way to kind of keep, I guess, monitor a room or something like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it'd be more for you want to know what the kids are up to. That's a perfect skill.
Oh, it's a spying tool.
You do have self-defense skills in there.
Lots of them, yeah.
Oh yeah. I try to. What I did is I tried to put 100 skills together that relate to today's most popular threats. So there's some good cyber stuff in there, along with some good like hand-to-hand oriented fighting skills. And then, of course, there's stuff in there for techie type of folks, like, modifying speakers and turning them into microphones, taking a disposable camera with a flash and turning it into a taser, and then other improvised weapons. But if there's a little bit of Martha Stewart or MacGyver in you, then, yeah, this is probably the book for you.
More MacGyver than Martha Stewart, I would think. Gosh.
She's a criminal.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Exactly.
I know.
Exactly. And she's still making millions of dollars.
That's right. You're doing it all right.
So our mechanic showed us a trick, and I'm wondering if you know this trick. You can take the porcelain off of a spark plug and use it to smash a car window.
Yes. Yep. I think I refer to that in one of the narratives in under one of the skills. But yeah, I did that when I was a kid.
Did you, so
Well, he's a Navy SEAL.
okay, but if you were stuck in a car, let's say, and it's sinking into the pond, you could break yourself out of the car with one of those things, right?
Yes, the porcelain reacts interesting, and it depends on the type of glass, right? Tempered glass, it reacts really well with, and it causes it to shatter and then kick it out. But ideally, if you're going into a pond or any kind of where,
if
your cars, yes, it's not something that just happens. You want to take the time to roll your windows down and prepare yourself for
that would make sense.
A solid exit. Yeah, you sure as heck wouldn't want to end up in the water and then trying to kick your windows out or anything of that nature. But having some porcelain around is great. Yeah, without a doubt.
How can people protect themselves in crowd situations? I know there was the crowd situation in Paris, but we had one here about 3 weeks ago at a nightclub in town. Fellas just came in to the nightclub and they started killing people. When a person goes into a venue like that, how can they be aware of the surroundings? What tips can you give?
Yeah, right off the bat, I mean, when you look at Paris and you got a mob of people, it's a very difficult environment because no matter how many, no matter what you do, you're still going to be governed by the body of people that are surrounding you. So ideally is stick to the perimeters, right? Once you're inside, stay to the perimeter and do a quick assessment of the environment. Know where all the exits are. Look at where the paths of the most traffic and least traffic. If there's a bar in the place, then typically you got a lot of traffic pattern going towards that bar. Lots of lines, stacks of people that are getting drinks. And then if there's a band or a concert going on, then there's going to be another body of people that are, close to that and watching that. And if you'll notice, in big crowds, you'll actually be able to through assessment, really break down, okay, how many big bodies of people are there right now? And you actually start to see it. You have people facing the band, you have people around the bars, and then everything in between becomes the paths of least resistance. And then you look at all that, now you'll know that if something breaks out, where you're more likely going to be able to move without interruption to one of the exits you've already identified. And this is something that, through my company we've been teaching to journalists because they put themselves in dangerous situations on a regular basis. And when you talk about social unrest and riots and protests around the world, this is how we get them to start analyzing the body of people, understanding that it's not just one big mass. There's actually 3 or 4 masses of people. And then in between all that is the paths that will allow you to escape if crisis strikes.
Wow. We have to take a little break. The book is called 100 Deadly Skills, the SEAL Operative's Guide to Eluding Pursuers, Evading Capture, and Surviving Any Dangerous Situation. This book will hold your attention. You don't want the bad guys to know these tricks.
No.
But he mentioned Martha Stewart. I found an example. You can make plastic with milk and vinegar, and there's a reason for making plastic. So we'll get to that when we get back. We'll be right back with Clint Emerson.
Brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, clouds, some sun, and warm with a shower in spots and a high of 83 to 87. Mostly cloudy, warm and humid tonight, though 71 to 75. For tomorrow, mostly cloudy, warm and humid with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm by afternoon, the high 81 to 85. For Friday, partly sunny, still a chance of a shower, high 79 to 83. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Central Florida Eye Institute is the area's leader in laser vision correction. From high-definition refraction surgery and LASIK vision correction to custom cataract, glaucoma, and diabetic treatment, you can count on Dr. Crowley and his effective, friendly staff to provide you with the quality care you deserve. Call 352-237-8400 for an appointment or more information. That number again is 352-237-8400. Looking forward to service your vision needs.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
All right, 16 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Clint Emerson on the phone. He is retired as a Navy SEAL, 22 years, and all kinds of background that would make it, obviously, somebody who could give us some deadly skills. He's written a book about it, 100 Deadly Skills, The SEAL Operative's Guide to Eluding Pursuers, Evading Capture, and Surviving Any Dangerous Situation. Here's an easy one. You roll up a newspaper, you put a nail in it, and you've got a deadly weapon. That's a pretty simple one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That one people don't realize if you take your daily paper and you roll it up tightly, and it shows in the book how to properly do that, and then fold it over. The end of that improvised bat, if you will, is just as hard as a piece of wood or pipe. It's amazing, and this was actually has some history to it. It was created by soccer fans overseas because stadiums over there and the fights that break out during and after soccer games, they've really done a good job limiting the number of weapons that come in. So these fans have figured out other ways, so they all will arrive with newspapers so that they can use them against the visiting team.
Oh, man. Oh, wow.
When you were writing some of these scenarios in this book, did you have flashbacks about any of the time that you served in, which, by the way, thank you so much for serving our country, sir.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. No, it's, I think most veterans these days, when you're in, for me personally, I shelved a lot of things. Emotionally, mentally, you just stack it on a shelf, and knowing that you're probably going to revisit some other day. So, yeah, nothing really. When I was putting the book together, nothing really kind of came to the surface. But during the year that I've been out, there's been definitely different points where all of a sudden, whatever you have shelved, it comes and visits you, whether you like it or not. That's for sure. And then you just deal with it the best you can, and then just keep driving forward.
Wow.
All right, so I mentioned before the break that you have a page in here, 2 pages, that show you how to make homemade plastic with milk and vinegar. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking you to explain it because it's in the book, but what would you use that plastic for?
It's a great way to mold something to any shape you want. And the example I gave in there is if you wanted to create a custom hiding concealment for a baby cam, for example. You have these. You can go to the store and buy these cameras pretty cheap these days. You break it apart, and then you make your own plastic, and then you can basically make the camera look like whatever you want inside your house, because everyone knows about the teddy bear with a camera, or whatever you buy them disguised as. So the point really there is, hey, take the camera out and make it look like whatever you want, and you can do it by making homemade plastic.
Wow.
I love that.
You got to instruct how to make an improvised taser. There was one in here, I'm not at that page and I can't remember where it was, but how to detect whether your car has any surveillance equipment in it, right?
Yeah, I thought in light of all of the NSA, Edward Snowden stuff, it'd be good to have some skills in there so that, one, you ensure your own privacy, but two, it really is highlighting what bad guys can do to you, right? A lot of these skills are invented by bad guys or just, nefarious-minded people. And so it's good to know what your predator is capable of, and knowing their tactics almost takes those tactics away from them. So that's kind of the goal there. And if you know where the most possible places where, an ex-crazy girlfriend could put a tracking device on your car,
Right.
that's a good thing to know.
Number 26 is how to steal a plane.
Crazy boyfriends too. Okay, I'll throw that in.
Yeah.
But women are crazier, let me tell you.
All right, how to steal a plane. You can give instructions how to steal an airplane.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just if you
Now-
have to know how to fly it though.
That's exactly the biggest point. You gotta know how to fly a plane before you can steal it. But that really goes with the theme of the book. The theme is based on the violent nomad, and the violent nomad, as the book is laid out, is basically a guy who travels the planet taking care of business for the greater good. And as the reader goes through the book, then they can extract the skills that the violent nomad uses for his job, and you can use them and incorporate them into your daily life.
Is there anything that a person should have on their person at all times that they can ward off even the simplest of attackers? Is there like one specific item?
A gun.
Yeah, I like the pen, steel-barreled pens that you can buy at any store. They're made of steel, and you can literally stab an eyeball out, stick it in somebody's ribs.
Oh yeah.
And the goal is to create pain, and if you create pain against your adversary, then that gives you the space that you need to escape and get away.
Would this work on a bear? Like if we're out in the woods and there's a bear, could I do that too?
I would defer. There's bear spray, but the cheap version of bear spray is the hornet or wasp spray that sprays out to 30 feet. That's a good one to have on your nightstand against bad guys.
Oh,
Let me take some phone calls. The book again is called 100 Deadly Skills. It is written by Navy SEAL Clint Emerson, and there's so many in here. There's a couple I wanted to share with the listeners, but let me take a phone call first. Good morning. Thank you for calling in, for waiting. You're on the air.
Hey, Clint, you're in a conversation right now with a former counterintelligence Marine that worked with 11th CIT against Red Cell over at Kaneohe Bay, and actually was kind of a draw between the injured SEALs on Mend, if you're familiar with Red Cell, and ourselves, and the Honolulu Police Department. But any case, I just would say, Clint, from one veteran to another, there's a lot of ignorant people in the world, and I'm glad you've got the book to make a living with. But I'm not sure if it's a wise proposition to share with people who are not mentally balanced, or even bad guys for the country, Clint, that would want to do harm to us Americans in any circumstance. So I would ask you. I know the round's already downrange, but I mean, to reconsider what you're offering to the public. It's actually kind of a dangerous proposition, and I do thank you for your service, but I just think you may have put profit before common sense, and I wouldn't want to educate people that want to hurt us any more than they need to be.
Well, we told them to turn the radios off, so.
yeah, we did.
I hurt your feelings.
We were good.
No. I get it. It's until you pick it up and look at it, you'll realize that a lot of the skills in here are what bad guys are already doing them. So I'm trying to identify them so that you're more complacent or just ignorant readers have an education now and know how to identify these threats when they come walking around the corner. And I also like to believe that more good people are reading books these days than bad. And I truly believe that regardless of what any former military guy puts out, you've got people out there that are going to take it. If I put out a book on how to be a great marksman, you'd find some bad guy that turned that into his way of killing people. But it doesn't matter. We put out information, whether it's movies, games, books. At the end of the day, it's like you said, mental health and bad parenting that usually causes a lot of our problems. And you can't really stop it. But I rather have a lot of good people equipped with this education so that at a minimum they become better sensors in our environment to detect bad things coming their way.
There you go.
Yeah, that avenue of awareness is the key here, and that's what you're doing with your book.
Well, and
Yes.
and to just kind of support that, one of the things in the book that we were wondering about this morning was how to trick the fingerprint thing. So, and I thought, wow, if you can trick the fingerprint thing, that means the fingerprint thing is not such a safeguard.
Right.
That means somebody could break into my phone, right?
Well, initially that was, it's good to know that back in the day there was a test, there was the gummy bear test, and it was pretty popular where you could take a gummy bear-like items, and you put your thumbprint on it, and then you take the gummy bear and then put that on the sensor, and all of a sudden it worked. These days, biometrics has gotten a lot better, but the intent behind that is just so that people know, hey, it's, for everything that we do to protect ourselves, there's someone out there trying to figure out a way to break that. And it's important for you to protect. Just because you got biometrics does not mean you're 100% secure, especially if somebody gets physical access of any of your technology.
How to defeat zip tie? How to defeat duct tape if you're bound with a zip tie or a duct tape? Let's see a couple of them.
Yeah,
flipping at random here. Go ahead.
Right, and those are all of your restraint defeat pieces. Where when you look at the statistics, you've got the number one restraint that bad guys use is duct tape. It's readily available. It's worldwide. It's important to know how to get out of that stuff. But more importantly, it's better just to have tools on you that can get you out of it as well. A razor blade goes a long ways, and it can be concealed just about anywhere. And so for all the women listening, it's important, hey, if you've got that razor blade, you put one in the sole of your shoe, put one wherever, so that you can always get to it if you find yourself in a horrible situation like that.
And I really like the idea about the pen because we work in a mall here in town, and this mall is jam-packed, especially during the holiday season. And when women come and they park their cars, and if they have children with them to walk from the parking lot into the mall, they have to be so observant. And for that woman to have a pen like in her hand, just kind of looking around, making sure the bad guys don't try to steal her purse or hurt her children, that's a really, really good idea.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll go a lot further than keys between your knuckles. There's nothing really all that stable when you try tricks like that. And but you have a steel spike in your hand, i.e., a zebra pen. Yeah, it's going to do some damage.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, how do we get the book? Do you have a website dedicated to the book?
Yeah, www.100deadlyskills.com, 100deadlyskills.com has all the links for purchasing, and there's six awesome videos on there that show you how to do 6 of the skills in the book.
And I, for one, really appreciate you being on today because I, as a woman, I just, when I'm with children or something, I really need to be aware of my surroundings, and you really are giving me the confidence to do that.
A newspaper and a nail.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I like that.
I'm glad you guys like it, and the biggest goal here is take away the tactics from the bad guys by learning what they can do, so you can detect it coming around the corner. And I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, and one of the things, real quickly, Tony Danza once was telling us that he had, he was a boxer, I guess, right? Yes. And he was telling us that between the tip of your chin and your ear, there's a line on both sides of your face, that if you hit that, you could break that easy, and that would disable somebody if you could connect with it. And you have that in the book, so.
Yeah, wonderful stuff.
Yeah, correct. That's the best way to get to a knockout.
Clint, thank you for being on the air with us today, and thank you again for your service. And the book, again, 100 Deadly Skills by Clint Emerson, Emerson. Thank you, Clint.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Just north of Paris, a siege in the search for a terror mastermind. A gun battle overnight, leaving at least 2 people dead. including one woman who blew herself up.
You had soldiers, you had special force police, riot police, anti-terror squads. This place, entire center of the city, was an armed camp. Finally, that was decided that there was no more inside. Forensic teams then went in and sifted